This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your queen, aka the Queen of Darkness, lead singer of Bullets of the Heart, and you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast. The Brutally Delicious podcast.
70,000 tons of metal. The original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, 1 cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets. From Miami, Florida to Ocho Rios, Jamaica, January 30th to February 3rd, 2025. 5 days and 4 nights mingling side by side with your favorite artists in this incredible fan-friendly scenario that has no comparison. Go to 70,000tons.com and book your ticket now.
I've gotten to the end of really good interviews and realized I forgot to hit the record button. So,
Oh, jeez.
That sucks.
it happens, I guess. So, anyway, thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You guys are in Illinois, right?
Yes.
Yep, near Chicago.
Are you getting hit with this massive heat wave right now?
Oh yeah, it's like high 80s, high 90s, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, that's not terrible then.
It's terrible
So
for
I'm
here.
in-
It's the Windy City, so it's
I
terrible.
guess
out
I'm in
here.
Richmond.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm in Richmond, and we're in triple digits like every day this week.
Oof.
Yeah, I have an uncle that lives in there, and it's always hot.
Yeah, this year seems to be excessively hot. But anyway, let's talk about Bullet to the Heart.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Do we have a delay? Or are we good?
There's a slight delay, but we're working around it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just make sure the pause in between and go from there. So, for those not familiar with Bullet to the Heart, can you give us the 2-sentence boardroom pitch?
No, that's you.
No, that's you.
No, that's you.
Yeah, so basically Bullets to the Heart. So we're a female-fronted band based out of Chicago. We like to not really put a label on our music. We like to do a bunch of different genres, kind of like each album cycle is a different genre that we kind of explore. So we've done grungy stuff, we've done like traditional metal, we've done hard rock, metalcore, alternative. We do like a different stuff. We do different stuff every time. We try to like explore and not try to fit in a bubble, you know?
Okay, so I've not been familiar with the band until I set this up and started doing some research. Are you always this down-tuned? Because I love how heavy and down-tuned it is.
So no, that actually just started with Death Oddities and Romance. So with Death Oddities and Romance, Brian, our guitarist, got a 7-string guitar, and that's where we started exploring 7-string and drop A sharp tuning and all that kind of fun stuff. And the stuff that we are releasing now and that we're promoting now is Trauma. That's kind of all in that wheelhouse, that like kind of Breaking Benjamin down-tuned stuff. And I mean, we're already working on stuff now that's in like drop F. So we're just going down the line.
So let me ask you a question then. As far as doing vocals, was it hard to adjust to doing something that different?
Not necessarily, because I like to say I have a versatile voice. So whatever the music is telling me, it's kind of easy to just like get in there and get to it. So it's been a tad bit difficult because I'm always in my lower register. Now I'm going to be coming up into my higher register at this point. But
Right.
screaming has definitely been
Yeah.
a little bit of a learning process. But other than that, yeah, it's been okay.
So I know you said that you like to experiment on different releases. Is the getting heavier a natural progression, or is this something you purposely decide to do?
So I think Like the whole industry as a whole, as that's changing, I want to take apart what's going on. So a lot of like when we were writing this music, Spirit Box was like a hot thing. So we were kind of taking inspiration from Spirit Box and then our own music and kind of combining kind of like what's happening, like what we were listening to. So I noticed like listening to like bands like Spirit Box and Sleep Token that inspired like this upcoming release called Trauma. And we just released Freeze, which explores more of her vocal range and is more soft and sad. That's where that other element comes in. So we're constantly trying to change stuff, but it's really just what's hitting us in the moment,
You mentioned Sleep Token. What a band. Holy cow.
Oh yeah, I saw them in 2018 when they were nobodies.
Really?
Yeah, they
I've
were
not had a
opening up
chance
on a
yet.
tour. Yeah, they were opening up on a tour. They had no banner. They had no logos. They just had the mask. And I was like, holy crap. I saw it with my sister and we were like freaking out. And their name wasn't even on the poster, on the flyer. So we had to do all this research, trying to look up lyrics and stuff. And it's a little band called Sleep Token. They had 30,000 monthly listeners.
Wow. Yeah, then they're taken over by storm now, which is great.
Now they're
Anyway,
huge.
back to Bullet to the Heart. Listening to the record, listening to Trauma and Freeze, is there anything you want your fans to walk away from after listening to one of the record or that single?
Definitely that, you have trauma. Trauma is just part of an everyday life thing, but it doesn't define you. And you can take your trauma and you can use that to build a foundation for yourself and better yourself and do something good with your life, that it doesn't have to hold you back. It only fuels the fire that's in you.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means? It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
Okay. I feel we talk about this a lot on the show. This kind of music, especially the heavier stuff, definitely helps you. It's cathartic. It helps you get through the trauma for sure. But it's also really timely, right? Because we're all going sort of through this global trauma, I guess, as it were, right? It kind of is timely and it helps you not only as an artist, but as a listener to, I don't know, vent, release, or anything like that. Makes sense?
Yeah, I feel like music's a good way to like explore those feelings where maybe you can't put it into words or you don't know what you're feeling. You feel something. And when you hear that song or that note or the scream, the whatever, you're kind of like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I'm obsessed with music. I go through these phases where I want to feel what I feel through these different songs. And then you get slapped with something like Sleep Token where you're like, I wasn't expecting that and I love it. And it awakens something that's inside you, whether you knew it was there or not.
So I think everybody has a sort of band or go-to for that sort of catharsis or release, right? Or something. For me, it's like Machine Head. I mean, that is my go-to. It's a shitty day. I'm listening to Rob Flynn. And I know that's not for everybody, but what is it for you?
You go first.
Oh, jeez.
I know yours changes a lot.
Yeah,
so does mine.
Yeah, we like go through like so many phases, but like lately it's been Sleep Token. Like that's the thing. For some reason, just his voice, his message, just the songs. I love Vessel. He's become one of my greatest inspirations thus far. So yeah, for me it's definitely Sleep Token when I'm feeling a certain type of way, because they got everything for every mood.
Yeah, they got angry, they got sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when I was a little younger, I used to love banging out some Five Finger Death Punch. Just the angry vocals and the double bass. I used to go back to Avenged a lot, like Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
But I mean, ever since like Spirit Box and Sleep Token, like Dayseeker, really into Dayseeker right now. That stuff's just kind of hitting a new, more mature side of like what I'm going through,
Fair enough. I saw that you guys played a pretty big festival here, Monster Hall Music Fest in Wisconsin. How did that go?
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of good bands, a lot of good people there. We love Wisconsin. We have a nice little draw in Wisconsin, so it's always good to reconnect with those people. And then what was the guy that we met? The radio guy?
Scorch.
Yeah, Scorch was interesting. We did an interview with him. So he was hitting on her mom.
Yeah, this radio guy was hitting on my mom, and I was like, alrighty then.
It was that obvious.
Oh, he just said, he goes, your mom's hot.
Yeah, he just outright said.
He was like, who's that lady?
Okay,
She's
fair
like,
enough.
oh, my mom drove up here, you know, and he was like, yeah, she's hot, dude. And we're like, she's hot, dude. All right, that's part of the interview.
Yeah.
Nice. So when you guys are writing, then is writing Trauma, writing Freeze, or whatever. Are you writing for the live setting, like how the song is going to come across on stage, or are you writing the song for the song's sake and then sort of adapting it to the stage?
I would say so. Like, Brian and I usually start writing the instrumentals before she even gets the vocals. We definitely just write to write.
Yeah.
So the guitar sounds cool, drums sound cool, bass sounds cool. It creates an ambiance, almost like a vibe. And this vibe, when it's handed to her, she starts doing the vocals, and then I guess you could take it from there. How do you do that vocally? Because we just do what sounds good first in the studio, in the basement, wherever we're writing.
Yeah, they do what sounds cool to them, and then I take it and I kind of let the song tell me what it wants me to write about it. I know I've always done this, so I've always like, what does this song want me to sing about? And then I kind of take from like what's going on in the world, and I take what's going on in my life. So I don't necessarily think about what the song's going to sound on stage. It's just more of what it's going to sound like, just like for us, like playing it for us, and then we hit it with the stage. And I think that's when we kind of, the first time we play it, we're like, does this work live?
Yeah, we've done that a lot.
What do we have to do for like the backing tracks? Like what needs to be put in there to make it sound more full or to make it have that impact? So
yeah, like what can we play? I know like in the studio, when I have unlimited time, unlimited takes, I want to nail a certain drum fill.
Yeah.
And live, that drum fill might not feel in pocket. So maybe I'll simplify it live. So I think definitely in the studio, in the basement, in the house. And then when you hit the stage, you kind of just make a live version. And like there's some songs where we just heavy it up. We'll just make it heavier because it needs more excitement. It needs more grit live.
Right.
It needs more grit live.
Okay. So you mentioned it, and I'll jump in here for a second. Backing tracks. I think there's lots of controversy in the world about that, especially with some bands using all backing tracks. How do you know where to draw the line and where it's too much or it's... I mean, there's got to be a line there, right? Because at some point, somebody's going to come in and say, hey, I want to see the band. How do you know when it's too much?
Well, so here's the first thing. So most bands use backing tracks now in some form of way, whether it's a click, an intro, a violin, something. I don't agree with backtracking a full band member or an instrument, like a guitar or a bass, or we've played with bands that have tracked drums and they have a drummer and he's not playing the fills. So that to me is ridiculous. We don't do vocals either. We don't have any vocals in the backtrack other than like maybe an echo in an intro or something. But all the band members are live. The tracks are there to support the band members. It's like another piece of equipment.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I asked
Like,
because...
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I asked because there's been a really popular band in the news that couldn't play their show because their laptop got lost. And
Yeah,
I find that completely ridiculous.
Yeah, and like that's a weird argument because like I know like we definitely have done it before, like where we play without it. We're like, oh, we could still put on a show, but like I don't know, when you're playing an arena though, and you have everything is syncopated with your tracks. I mean, it's not just the backing tracks and the intros. That's Ronnie. Ronnie wouldn't have lights. He wouldn't have his fire. He wouldn't have any type of transition, click track, stuff like that. Like there is a fine line. You're right. But there's also like a lot of industry stuff that the fans don't pay attention to. It's more than just you go on stage with a guitar. You know, like you have your in-ears. All those in-ears are hooked up. Our tuning is hooked up to the computer.
Yeah.
So we're still playing live guitar. It's live instruments. We're playing every note real. But that tuning, it's with the laptop. The laptop switches the tuning for us on when it's connected to the guitar equipment.
Yeah.
So and that just it makes the show much more polished.
Right.
And then
So
you could sound like the
if I
album.
could sum it up, it's like a tool. No, yeah. So I'm saying, so if I could sum it up, then it's like a tool instead of a replacement.
Yeah, 100%. Think
I've
of it
seen
as
even
like
mass. that are
Oh
using
yeah,
vocal tracks.
yeah. It was upsetting at first when we started getting into the scene and like going on tour. We toured with bands that we liked or even like worshipped per se, and you find out like half the band's faking not only their instrument, but they're not even singing live, and you could totally tell. And we're watching hundreds of people scream their name, and we're like, oh, well, that sucks. You know, like here we are, like busting our ass. She's blowing out her vocals every night,
Yeah.
and this person's mimicking shit and dancing, but they look really good.
Yeah,
And
I
it's like,
just-
damn.
I just don't think that like if you don't have like your voice or you don't have the stamina, then don't perform. That's probably best to listen to your body and not perform, because I would never be sick and then be like, hey guys, let's just backtrack my vocals and I'll pretend. It's like I would rather cancel and be like, sorry guys, I am physically sick, I cannot perform, rather than slip in a track and then I sit up there and lip sync. I just don't think that that is professional. I just don't think it's appropriate. Just like your fans will understand. Just rest. You need rest. So if you can't physically perform it, just don't do it.
Right. So there's some sort of integrity to what you do as opposed to just getting out there and doing it.
Yeah, and I think from the musician standpoint as well, like I want to play. If I physically can't play, I'm not gonna just fake it. I want to actually play. Like I still want to play an instrument, you know, and like I think that's also important. Some of these people, though, I know a lot of the older dogs, like they're just this is all they know. This is their paycheck, and they don't really give a shit.
Right. And some of them should just call it a day and let the legacy be done and not run into the dirt. And we all know who I'm talking about. I mean, there's a couple come right to mind, and
I
they
have
should have
one
let it go.
already.
They should have let it go a long time ago when, you know, people were still worshiping them and saying, hey, you guys, you know, defined this genre in a decade. And now they're a
Yeah,
laughing
like-
stock.
I know who exactly you're talking to. I can't believe they sell any tickets, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. How do you think AI plays out in all this then? Because it's just going to keep getting more slippery on this slope, right?
Yeah, so AI is a weird one. I don't think it's like taking over anybody's like job per se, but there's definitely content creators that are building entire albums with AI, and like most people can't tell the difference. I feel like a musician could, like if you know how a guitar works or vocals or any type of programming, if you know how it works, you could tell, but most people can't tell, and the internet's filled with garbage anyway, so people are just like, oh look, more garbage, I like this, and it's like, okay, I like this, and it's like, so, but maybe one day, but I think you can't replace the human experience, you know.
I agree with you, and it's funny because I get lots of albums to review every week, you know, from my reviewers, and we got a completely AI generated metal band from a label, I don't know, 2 months ago. And I'm going to tell you, you got familiar already? Are you
What's up?
familiar with it?
No.
Are you
No, I didn't
familiar with
believe
it? There's, I don't remember the title offhand, but it's completely AI generated. And if you just give it a cursory listen, you are 100% right. No one even knows. And there's not
Yeah.
one player on that. It's just all like, you know, type in text to music or whatever it is. And it's insane.
Is it vocals too?
Everything.
That's
the whole
crazy.
thing.
That's crazy.
I'd like to check that out. I have to look into that, but
yeah, we need to.
because I know like there's some goofy ones on YouTube where they do like SpongeBob characters and stuff, and you can just tell like, you know, you can tell what is what, you know. But it's very interesting to figure.
I'll look through my emails later on because I know I still have it, and I'll send you it via email because I honestly don't remember what it was because it didn't make that big of an impression. But if I played it for like my wife who's not really a music fan or, you know,
Yeah.
anybody who's a casual fan, probably not going to know the difference.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with going back to the tracks. Like a lot of big bands know that the guy all the way in the back of the arena isn't going to care, you know.
Right. Yeah, if the beer's in, he's just there to scream and holler and not worry about it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's where the teeter is.
So what's next for Bullet to the Heart? You guys taking this on the road more?
Yeah, we're not ready to announce it yet, but second half of the year, maybe around fall time, we're going to be hitting the road with Trauma and all the new songs that are still up to be released on Trauma, and then finish out the year on the road and hopefully some high notes and maybe trying to hit our sale goals and stuff. So working on that.
Okay. And then if fans want to find you, can you give us all your socials?
Yeah, so really, if you could type in "Bullet to the Heart," we're pretty much on everything. So Google,
easy.
where we have a link tree. We're on everything though, everything except SoundCloud.
Yeah, I guess like the easiest way is just to go to Facebook, and in our bio is the link tree, and if you click on that, it will take you everywhere.
Yeah, I would say most active on Facebook, Instagram, pretty active on YouTube too, but those are the main three, and you could figure out everything in which way and all that good stuff.
And as you lead up to the record, are you going to be doing the new business model of like, I don't know, a new video single every 6 weeks, or are you kind of just releasing a full length and 2 singles or 3 singles?
So Freeze is single number 2. The 3rd single is going to come out with the release, and then it's kind of up to everybody. We were talking about possibly doing more music videos, but we need to feel from our fan group if that is in demand or not. Because we'd love to tell the stories. We'd love to show you more visuals and some badass stuff. But we want to hear from you guys. If you think you want more, then we'll give it to you.
Okay, fair enough. That's all I had. I hope I covered everything you wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think a little bit and more is nice.
And I meander. Sorry, I'd just like to chat and see where it goes. So that whole AI thing was, you kind of opened the door, and I'm curious what people think, because it's big news for everywhere, right?
Yeah, I remember a band member ago. He was really worried about it, and I just don't care. Like, I don't think it's gonna like replace our job or our music or my ability to play shows. There's always going to be like, I want to see people, but you're going to have those people that are going to rise on the top and be like, this whole album's AI, F you, and it's like, it's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to happen, but I think, going back to the integrity thing, it's what you do. You take pride in playing, and if you need to take the day off, like you said, or whatever, or you play 90% and your voice cracks a bit, I think that still shows a bit of humanity, and you're actually doing it as opposed to, the computer doing it. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and that's the hard thing, like, about her. I feel like people are really hard, specifically on females, because, like, a male vocalist can sound scratchy, raspy, a little off key here and there, and they're just like, oh, he's a badass. But when a woman does it, everyone picks that apart. And there's been times where she's like, I'm exhausted. I'm just going to scream a little bit, and it's going to sound different, and it's like, too bad. Like, we're live performing.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's bad. I'm going to go back to Machine Head for a second. I just watched their performance at Hellfest this weekend. And holy shit, he was off. I mean, not like terribly off, but you could tell it was not a recording. He was raspy, like you said, maybe flat here and there, but it was real. And it didn't detract from my enjoyment of the show. It was like, hey, he's really putting himself out there.
And I feel like as a real fan, like, you would know that. Like, you're going to be like, hey, even like someone like Bruce Dickinson, he's on it 90% of the time. He's allowed to have one fucking bad day. You know what I mean? And you're like, dude, it's still Bruce Dickinson. It's fine. So I definitely
I don't think it detracts from it unless you're terrible.
Yeah, I think if you're up there like Vince Neil, then
Right. Yep, 100%. That's ridiculous. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. I really do love what I've heard so far.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I look forward to the record.
Yeah, the next one, I hope you get it, super heavy. So it's the heaviest one on the record. So I'm hoping that reaches your way.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Barbara, and hopefully we'll grab it. And maybe I'll see, I don't know if you're coming to the East Coast, but I'm in Richmond, and maybe I'll catch you over here.
That's a hard one. I don't know if we're going to Richmond this year. We were there last year, so we're trying to hit different markets, but I'll keep that in mind. I can see who I'm. I
don't expect you to come over for me, but yeah, great.
No, we did last year though. It was a good time. We did in July of last year, but
how I missed. Did you?
Yeah, it was. Oh God, what was the theater? Was it Tally Ho?
Oh, that's in Leesburg. That's too far from me.
Oh, that is too far. Okay, I don't know the state that well. I know Alexandria, Richmond. Yeah. Oh, it is. Oh, wow. Okay, my bad.
Anyway, thank you so much. Good luck with the record, and nice talking to you, my friends.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. Hope to see you again.
Cheers. Be well.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Tom May here, host of Future Friday. I've spent the last 15 years on the road with my band, The Menzingers, where I've met all kinds of wild and fascinating people. So I started a podcast. On Future Friday, I talk to fellow musicians about the moments that made them, their passions outside of music, and the curiosities that tie us all together. I've also talked to the likes of UFO researchers, magicians, soldiers, and documentary filmmakers, and I'm constantly searching for folks that can shape and change our view of the world. You can check out Future Friday wherever you like.